When I think about All Might, the first thing that comes to me isn't his overwhelming strength, nor the idea that he is the symbol of peace. And instead, it's vulnerability, because it's his vulnerabilities that make him an interesting character, and more importantly, it's his vulnerability that to me makes him not a true hero. And when I say I don't think that All Might is a true hero, I'm not glossing over the fact that he indeed is the symbol of peace, but instead I'm focused on his vulnerabilities, how it's been displayed and expressed throughout the series, and analyzing why he has these fears. And to understand why, we have to go back into All Might's past. All Might was born quirkless and was born in a time where evil ran wild due to the influences of All for One. In that time, it was of Toshinori's belief that the crime rates were on the rise because citizens never had a hero to truly believe in, inspiring him to become a powerful hero who could provide hope for the innocent and defeat evil, even though he was quirkless. With this newly acquired resolve, Toshinori eventually met with Nana Shimura, where he expressed to her that he wanted to create a world where everyone could smile and live happily together. And for that to happen, the world needed a symbol of peace that would inspire a new era. Toshinori genuinely believed that he could become that pillar, and his resolve was so strong that Nana Shimura started to believe that if he actually had the power to, Toshinori might actually be able to create this new world. So Nana took Toshinori as her apprentice, trained him well, and passed One for All down to him, making him the 8th person to carry the torch of One for All. Since then, All Might carried a burdensome goal in his mind: to become a pillar of hope that people could always rely on during their times of adversity. And despite anything and everything, All Might always seemed to prevail, one battle after another. And as he was rising in popularity, he began to inspire the world and inspire fear in the hearts of villains everywhere. So what would happen if by chance this godlike figure, the symbol of peace All Might, were to get in an altercation with an equally powerful foe and leave with a severe injury that would eventually not allow him to contribute to society as he's been doing for the last 40 years? One would think that All Might would keep this grandiose heroic personality, where even with a limited amount or even without the power of One for All at all Might would continue to inspire the world with his unwavering resolve. But that's not how All Might is displayed. And in fact, without the quirk One for All Might seems to be the most vulnerable character in the entire story, ultimately contrasting the personality that was required of becoming the symbol of peace. This vulnerability was created through All Might's greatest fear and expressed solely when All Might is in his Small Might form. And the fear that I'm talking about is All Might not being able to save a person in need. When I originally came to the conclusion that All Might's fear is not being able to save everyone, I couldn't find a good answer as to why he had this fear until I revisited the first conversation of All Might and Deku. It was then that everything started making sense. Deku is a character who is exactly the same as Toshinori in his younger years, being a quirkless individual who didn't want to just sit back and accept reality and how the world was. And even though they were powerless, they wanted to do something to make the world a better place. However, the singular moment that All Might transformed into his Small Might form and Deku asked if he can become a hero without a quirk, All Might immediately said no. He says that a true hero should always be able to risk their lives for those who need help, and that the reason why he smiles is to push off the pressure and fear that he has. And being that All Might is the strongest hero in the world, there's no way that his fear would be any singular villain, which makes it make more sense that his fear is not being able to save a person in need. But in looking back at the sentence of his fears, he says, "The reason I smile," which is interesting because the true reason All Might has this trademark smile is not from him, and instead it's from Nana Shimura, who was the originator of this heroic ideology and who taught Toshinori that the strongest people smile even in the sight of danger. And in seeing how Nana Shimura displayed this ideology, she literally was smiling in the face of the man who would take her life, all to ensure the next generation of One for All and the future symbol of peace, All Might, got away alive. However, it's All Might's perspective of the event that matters most, because to All Might, he was weak, not able to effectively save his master, who he viewed as a mother figure. So being that the first person that actually believed that Toshinori could be the symbol of peace died because All Might was weak, he masked his fears and the persona that is needed for the position of the symbol of peace, and vowed to save everyone with a smile. However, All Might being the symbol of peace doesn't change the fact that acting based on your fears will inevitably expose who you truly are. And for All Might, this fear of not being able to save someone is depicted heavily in his most vulnerable state, which is his Small Might form. And in that form, he loses all sense of self because he feels weak, which is why he told Deku, "You can't be a hero," not truly remembering or reminiscing glossing over the fact that all of this started because All Might was quirkless. And even though All Might was quirkless, he showed signs of a true hero, which is why I believe the entire idea of Small Might represents All Might not being a true hero. But let me know your thoughts and consider supporting me by joining my YouTube memberships. And I'll see you in the next My Hero video.